Yo, what up, guys? Welcome to the Overkill Underground. Here we are, episode 4 of our Survivor series, and so we start out from the episode before where Liz, she's gone now.
Yeah.
It was a complete surprise to Peter, obviously, but he didn't know what was going on. He thought he had his game pretty rolled up tight.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, things were not what he seemed to think they were going into Tribal, and obviously we saw that at the beginning of this episode. He's laying there on in the night on the sand, just thinking over, just trying to put things together, and obviously he didn't know what was going on. Debbie pretty much has got the Brains tribe on her side right now, and immediately
sitting back and watching.
Yeah, exactly right. And so immediately we enter in to this episode. I think pretty much we walk right up into the reward challenge. And they enter in. They got to find some bags. It's obviously scorching hot out. It's one of the first things that Jeff says about the whole ordeal. It's even they're running across the sand. You don't realize how hot it is, and then they, of course, they're burning it up to run through the sand. And
the guys aren't wearing clothing.
Well,
There's no shirts and no hats on these guys. It's obviously you're going to get sunburn. You're going to get hot.
No water to drink for 45 minutes.
Right, and they got to search for that stuff in the sand, and I've said it before. We all know. But these other seasons, they found that stuff way sooner than 45 minutes. You find that stuff right away. I even think Jeff was caught off guard with how long it took these people to find that stuff.
I think so, too.
Like, he was in shock.
It took them all off guard because of the problems that came after that, because they were all out there in that steamy hot weather, digging through the sand, and
it was obviously pretty warm out there.
It
was obviously very warm out there. Yeah.
It was hot, and we were joking like, "Oh, Debbie, she'll be fine." I've seen people in heat stroke, and if it's not the breathing, then you're usually fine. Just douse them in water, cool off their neck.
Down.
That blood that goes to your brain, cool off your neck, and then that blood cools off as it heads to your head. And you cool them off a little bit. And I figured Debbie'd be okay. They brought her out, and Dan was real quick, or Joe was real quick, get medical out here. We need medical, like, right now. Like, he was ready to vote her out right now. He was
spot on with it.
And then the guy, what's his name, the cowboy, Caleb, he was pushing himself, just a young man going out there.
And they were out there for a really long time.
About 2 hours.
It kind of went through like a time elapsed, like they're digging through the sand still. And they got to find these 3 bags.
Mm-hmm.
And Brains, of course, they find all their bags fairly quickly, it seemed. I mean, it still took them probably a little bit of time. I mean, they might have been out there for 20
I
minutes,
think weren't they all out there for 45 minutes?
I think they were all
was there
out
that little
the
ticker
same
on the
amount
bottom?
of time. Yeah.
Did they show the time elapsed?
Yeah, they
that?
said 45 minutes. That you only see those like in the one-on-one challenges where they're standing on a board, and they're waiting.
I figured
for somebody to fall.
They would have put them somewhere where they'd find them within a couple minutes.
I am dead serious. I think the other seasons past, they found them right away. I'm really serious because I've seen that challenge before.
I think so too, yeah, absolutely.
And they picked those things right out of the ground. I really think someone was picking up sand on each team and putting it on where a ball was, and then they just were piling on, and then the one person said, well, you piling all this crap on, and then poor Blondie, she's kicking the sand around.
Right.
I thought the heat stroke was going to come from the big dude, the basketball player, because if you watched him, he was really hurting out there.
He really looked like it.
And even Joe said something. Well, the first thing I noticed was Joe was saying, like, I'm hurting right now, guys. Like, I'm really in trouble.
Yeah.
And then he cooled off somehow. And then
just chilled for a minute.
Yeah.
Right, I saw both of them.
Yeah.
Even Jason and Scott were just sitting there from the Brawn tribe.
Almost all of them
they were sitting there for
right.
You saw everybody on every team pretty much kind of sit there for a minute, relax, cool down a little, because you could tell they were suffering through it. And Jeff was saying the same thing. He's like, it's hot out here. You got But they were digging pretty hard for a good while, and like you were saying, they must have just been taking their bags and burying them.
They probably
deeper
were, yeah.
and deeper until they went over and ahead.
Right.
You know,
And the deeper that you get in the sand, the cooler it's getting, though. I mean,
Yeah.
that sand at the top, if you've been on a beach, it's
Hot.
hot on the top. But once you get down in there, I mean, it's cooler down there.
Yeah, well, they should have gone from the outside of the area and gone in
Yeah.
with the group like that instead of going in and trying to find everything. They should have gone from the outside in. Done that, and they'd have found it.
Sure,
in
some
no time.
teamwork would have been appreciated, of
But
course.
they didn't
yeah.
have that, and like you said, instead they got in there and started digging things and piling
Right.
it up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Start from the outside, go in.
So what
and
Debbie
you'll
goes
find 'em
down.
like
Debbie
that.
goes down, right?
right.
Then Caleb, he pushes through it. Then once his adrenaline.
Once he gets to the end, right? So we see immediately after, it's the Brain Tribe. They get their win, so they're fine. We see Debbie go down, and somebody mentioned she's 98 pounds. So
Mhm.
she needs a lot of water. She needs all of them do. And
All
I
of
think
'em should.
I think all of them put themselves through a lot of dehydration, just not getting enough water, not worrying about getting enough water because they were comfortable. They didn't want to boil extra pots or whatever the case might have been. We see Debbie go down right after the victory. We're waiting for the Beauty Tribe. They're throwing the ball up there, trying to get it in still. Debbie's down, and everybody else is still fighting for the win. Caleb goes down after they get their win, and was he the one that got the winning shots for the Beauty Tribe?
He finished. Yeah, he finished
I
off
think
the last shot.
I think he did put in the last one.
and then his
He-
adrenaline just cut. His
crawled
neck,
off.
Yeah, his neck started turning black and blue.
Yeah.
I also think going in the water before that and diving in the water and having to get those little ropes and coming out and then being
very
in the heat for a
exhausting.
long time.
That was in the.
I think that was immunity.
That
that
was
was immunity.
one.
I think that was the
But
right.
with this challenge, I realized he was in trouble because he was on the Big Brother show, so I could see some drama coming from him this
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
Maybe like, hey, this chick passed out. Maybe I'll try something and just kind of, maybe this will be a showstopper
Maybe.
type of thing.
Maybe.
But then when his breathing was acting up and he wasn't responding, and plus his black and blue neck, that's when I realized something was going on.
Yeah, it looked
and
like
it
it
just
was
like caused a
serious.
chain reaction because Sydney,
Sydney's.
she started
Yeah.
getting some heat stroke.
She started to go into bad shape. Yeah.
And there's the first time where we saw Jeff. Actually, the game came to a halt. Really,
It
I mean
did.
they were done competing,
doubt.
but we saw camera crew, we saw medics,
You
we saw like
you saw
producers.
the scene.
Yeah,
right. You
we saw.
and you saw what they have behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a crew of 40 people watching over those guys
Mhm.
at any given point in time, whether it's rain or shine, day or night. There's camera crews on them. I'm sure the camera crew has to be a good 5 people deep with
Oh,
the
yeah.
producer, a director, and going the whole time throughout the entire night,
Mhm.
no matter what. And I noticed also in this particular episode, we went from day 9. I don't know if did anybody see a day 10, or did we just skip to day 11 right to the immunity challenge?
Well, we had to go because we had no time after that whole.
I mean, I
medic
think that's
thing.
what it was.
That whole episode
They-
took up so much time.
But they never showed that there was a day 10, which makes me believe that their day 10 was just a day to relax
I
and
think
not
so.
worry
Yeah,
about anything
I'm sure
and
it
just
was.
because I'm
Yeah.
sure it was another hot day.
But mad props to Jeff. There's a reason why he won an Emmy. At the same time, he's keeping the viewer involved with the game.
He really did.
But
it
at
was
the same
amazing.
time, he's saving these people.
and he's
It's
coordinating.
great stuff there.
Coordinating the entire
Mhm.
event of like, hey, the medic goes over and tells Jeff, we need the chopper. Jeff is like, we need the chopper.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
is
yeah.
going on, and he's basically choreographing the whole
And
thing
keeping us
as far
involved,
as and
you know?
at the same time, like you said,
Very cool.
telling the viewer what's going on. So this is what's happening now, and this, we got Sydney over here. She's
Oh,
down
yeah.
also, but she's making it.
I
She's
think-
making
I
it
think-
through.
I think she felt it coming on and she stopped. I think the
I
guys.
think she rushed to relax,
I
just
think-
like Debbie
I think
did.
the guys probably felt it coming on and say, "Yeah, I can work
Right,
through
right.
that."
A young man will do that.
She
He'll push through
stopped.
it.
Right.
She stopped and realized that I better stop
Yep. Yep.
because any time after that it would
Well,
get
what'd that
serious
chick
on
say?
her.
She said,
But
I
Debbie-
thought Caleb was invincible.
Yeah, she did
And
too.
he probably
right.
thought
He
the
probably
same
thought he
thing.
Probably
was
thought he
too.
was too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he probably
absolutely.
thought
Found
the
out
same
different.
thing.
And Debbie, she made it out of the woods fairly quickly, it seemed, compared to the other two. Caleb and Sydney, they suffered with it a little bit longer. Sydney, I think she did try to relax quickly, but Debbie, she knew right away. She's like, I'm going through something here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna curl
yeah.
up in a ball, and
Maybe
call-
she's not so dumb after all, you know. I mean,
And I guess she did deny help for a little bit, and then Jeff was just finally like, he kind of like, no, let's get somebody over here. You know, he
yeah,
called
Joe
medic
was
over.
standing with her and like, hey, we need medical.
Right,
You
right.
know, we need to get this
So
going.
they start cooling her off, and so Caleb, he ends up, I mean, he's out.
Yeah, he's gone. Whoever
That's
had Caleb
gone.
on the pole, he's gone.
So
You
there
know.
he was, right?
Yeah,
Sorry.
they said he recovered 100% and is doing
Oh,
fine.
yeah.
They
He
did
probably
show that,
was
right.
cooled off by the time that chopper landed.
I'm
Yeah.
sure he was.
Yeah.
You know, and he was probably kicking himself in the ass because he's gone.
Yep.
You know, that stinks, but
Yeah.
medical happens. Medical happens.
Absolutely, and then I mean, it's a great show to watch how things kind of go together, and we really got to see that this time around, where there's a real crew working behind the scenes to put this all together, and it was, exciting to see like all that kind of come together, the way Jeff played it out, and like
It
you
was
said,
great.
It was pretty cool in that respect to
I
see
hope-
how they bring it together like that.
I hope they ask him about that after it's over when everybody gets together. I hope they ask him.
I'm
you
sure
know,
they'll talk
what
about
was
it
going
at some
on
point in
before
time.
before that happened. Had you had enough water that because he was in serious shape there for
Yeah,
a minute.
that
Like,
sounds good to
you. Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I thought it was funny too with Ty. It seemed almost heartbroken
Oh, yeah.
that Caleb was
His
gone. I mean,
he
he
boyfriend.
was
mentioned
heartbroken.
he
when
mentioned a
you
couple
read the
different things
scenes.
about it too. I
Oh,
mean,
my
He
goodness.
was heartbroken.
He went
He's
into detail.
devastated by it.
yeah, he went into detail about it.
He looked the same way he looked when the chicken died. I mean,
Right,
it was
right.
the
Yeah.
same, like, oh, my God.
Right. He
You
talked
know?
about how Caleb was his first night cuddle buddy.
Yeah, yeah.
How he was, he missed his kiss.
yeah.
He even
Yeah.
mentioned, I'm like, damn, that dude had it
He's going to
bad.
kiss him. He'll get to him.
So yeah,
in the
he wanted
finale.
it. He wanted it bad, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
he'll get him.
Oh,
He'll
yeah.
get him, right? He'll see him at the finale.
Now
there,
he's
but-
just got a bunch of hot chicks walking around his camp. What the hell is
no
he going to do
kidding, right,
now?
Right.
Damn.
So like I said,
I'm wondering if he's not being that way just to.
No,
maybe
but
he thinks it's I don't know.
no.
I think
not
Ty
to
is
be
pretty-
fair.
weird.
I think
He
he's
is out
gay.
there.
Yeah, he's
He
gay
is
all
out
out.
Ty seems
Well, trying to
pretty.
dig up a tree to find some
He's-
immunity.
Yeah,
out of it.
yeah, well, that's another
Hey,
story.
let me dig up this tree. It might be under
Ty
He's in the
Ty
brain
seems very
tribe, right?
genuine all the
I
way
agree,
around. I
yeah.
think he's a pretty genuine guy.
Yeah.
He definitely liked Caleb a lot,
Mhm.
And now that he's off the show, I mean, there's the beauty, which now we see the beauty tribe with one less. We, as far as Caleb is concerned, he was kind of, him and Ty were the show stealers of the rest of that tribe. We really don't know as much as we could know about the rest of that tribe because
Right.
we've been centered on Caleb and Ty the entire time from the
Mhm.
beauty tribe.
the.
So
But I think they were also the
we'll start
shell
to
of that
see.
tribe.
yeah, they were.
I think they were the rock over
They
there.
were. They
you
really
know.
held it together.
That banter and that funny, like this gay old man's hitting on me. That's funny to everybody, and it's like a relaxation.
It gave
type of thing,
it gave
an
the entire
outlet.
tribe right. It gave the entire tribe that just thing to sit back and relax on, and enjoy each other's
Mhm,
company
Sure.
and the camaraderie and you got the team. It's a solid core that you can have and play with. That everybody. But now that Caleb's gone, we're gonna see more of what, and obviously too, with the preview of next episode, we see that there's splitting up the teams again.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we could argue that maybe the beauty tribe will fall apart now, but we won't really actually know. I don't think.
But they
I don't think we're actually going to find
You'll
out
never
whether
find
or
out
not.
the chemistry in there. You'll have to find
It's
that
gonna be- right,
online
yeah.
or something of what's
Absolutely, right.
actually was happening over
They
there.
had to switch up the teams because the one team only had 3 people left.
Their alliances will be flushed out when the merge happens and the two tribes happen.
Yeah.
And you'll see the yellows, if they stick together, the beauties stick together, and how they stick together, how they communicate with other people. those alliances will be flushed out. So we'll get a glimpse of what was actually happening on that beach in the Beauty Tribe area.
Yeah.
By the way
That's
they
true.
interact with the
That's
other
true.
tribes. So we'll
That's
get a
true.
little glimpse, but not the whole picture.
It won't be the
so
whole
I
picture.
think.
It'll never be the whole picture. We won't
Yeah.
be able to put that together.
Not what we got with the Brains going to tribal.
Right.
The Brain, that was a great thing to happen for us. To see Brains go to tribal. That was awesome.
And right,
we could see what was going on.
Yeah, that was a good view of how Peter thought he was running the show,
Mhm.
but Debbie was actually the one with the control.
Yeah.
And and obviously we enter in, and with the Brawn tribe, it's day 9. Alicia, nobody likes her. I mean, it's just right from the get-go, and up into the immunity challenge, it was clear that when they lost the immunity challenge, we go into the immunity challenge finally day 11, they go through, and when Braun lost, it was obvious that Alicia was the one going home. There's no saving her.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing she could do, nothing she could say. Sydney's in tight with the guys.
Oh, yeah.
Period.
Mhm.
And it was funny to even watch Jeff go up and start talking to the whole tribe about it. We'll do tribal right now if you want, and
Which is
she's
not
like,
fair to anybody. It's not
it
fair to
wouldn't-
anybody.
It wouldn't be. It
Not a
wouldn't
good
be.
idea.
But that's why, I think it was smart of Jeff to say, hey, that's fine. If Alicia says we want to do
Right.
tribal now, let's do tribal now. And I
Right.
think I've seen that happen once before.
It has happened.
They have done it.
It has happened. It's just, it's not fair to anyone who was voted out before her, and to say and to go to tribal the way they did is not fair to the 2 people who were voted out before her on that tribe. It's
Right.
it's just complete insult to the game, and when you do that, you insult the players that participate in that game. It's breaking the rules or manipulating them in a certain way that's just not fair to anybody.
Yeah.
And what they
Yeah.
did to her, we were always wondering, we've been talking about for weeks, why is she on this tribe? And Jeff finally told us because she had a strong, personality. That's
Yeah.
fine and dandy, but that tribe is all muscles and mass and stuff, and they're working on aggression and instant gratification. This is how I look. This is what I lift. This is what we do.
Yeah.
Instant, that's what she did. We blame her right away. There's no thought process going on
Yep.
over there. So to put her, I think she got a bad rap. I think she did really bad, and she would have done better on another season. But I really think that poor girl got it real bad over there. And you watch them guys. You know what? I wish them the best, but I don't think they make it.
They're not
Oh,
going to
they're
make
not
it too
gonna
much
make it.
further.
They're not
They're
gonna make
good.
it.
That's not really
No.
going to work
It's
No.
not gonna
with
work.
people. Their attitude.
No.
They better
They
hope
won't.
that those 2 big boys are on the same tribe at this point.
Absolutely, yeah.
They better be praying, because that ain't. That's not going to fly.
And one of them will stab the other in the back eventually. Anyway,
That would be an awesome episode.
That's gonna happen.
But I want to
I
bring it
think
back to the
because-
immunity real quick.
Yeah.
Because they'll be looking for their own savior, so they're gonna
Oh,
have
right.
to vote the other
Right.
one
Yeah.
out.
In the immunity, if you didn't notice, that thing they had to climb.
Yeah.
They had a challenge. They put that in the shade. They put that in the woods.
Yeah.
You had to run in the woods. That obstacle would have been on the beach.
Yeah. Would have
And
been in
then-
the sunlight,
Then
right.
they put them in the water. The
Yeah.
guys that got to go in the water.
Yep.
Then they come out and they do a little puzzle. Perfect idea. I don't know if anybody noticed that, but something under the radar that just kind of hit me
clearly.
was we put these people in the shade or we put them in the water.
Yeah.
We can't have this happen again because it's
Yep.
bad for the game.
Yeah.
It was a perfect idea.
Yeah,
for
clearly there was some kind of thought process behind we got to do something with this immunity challenge where they're not
Mhm.
going to be out there getting heat exhaustion. I'm sure the temperatures, I'm sure they were watching the weather like a hawk too,
Mhm.
because it's like we already went through this once. We're not going to have this happen again. It's going to be another 103-degree day tomorrow, whatever,
yeah.
whatever the case may be. And like you said, I mean, I think it really was a planned out event where, you run through the woods, you jump in the water, you grab your rope pieces, you come back, you complete the puzzle. And of course, Brains, they've been a tight unit so far, and they win that challenge.
Mhm.
And obviously the Beauty Tribe, again, strong team still,
Mhm.
in second place, and then we see the Brawn obviously come in third. And Brains, they really do have a good team as far as their entire unit, with even Peter being, kind of on the outs of that tribe right now. They still work together well. And just like the Beauty really works together well, just period. I think they really have that chemistry going on. It's kind of almost magical the way Ty seemed to keep that bond with even the rest of the tribe members who we haven't even seen a lot of.
Yeah.
You know,
where they like to laugh with him and at him, and he doesn't mind.
It's all in the same.
Mhm.
Exactly.
He's pretty secure with himself.
He really
He's
is.
very
Yeah.
secure in what he's doing and very out there. I think he's great for any tribe. I think he's great for any tribe, for sure. You know what? And he goes and he finds the idol the other week without any
Nobody
any hiccups
knows
whatsoever.
Nobody knows, right?
You
And
know,
he's a strong guy. He's a great character for the Survivor show. And
Genuine. He's genuinely that guy.
He's a
which
genuine
makes it that
guy,
much better.
right? Watching him and being the genuine guy that he
Mhm.
is, that's another thing that brings that beauty tribe together. And like we were talking, we're not going to be able to see that fully play out. We know we're going to split tribes again. We're probably more than likely we'll split into two tribes. We'll have the two tribes next episode, and it'll be interesting to see if the Brawn tribe is split up between the guys. I think if we see Scott and Jason on separate tribes, they might both be looking towards the defense. Like you were saying,
They could
I
be
think
on their heels there.
Their attitudes may need to adjust to kind of cooperate with people that are beauty tribe people and brains people. Musclehead guys just don't seem to mix in well with
Not
those
these
groups.
two. This one.
Not
dude,
these guys.
That
anyhow.
guy with the sunburn and the tattoos, the bounty hunter.
Yeah,
He's gonna have a hard time. But better yet, they could get paired up.
they could.
They could be on the same tribe. We're going to have an original Survivor, in the mid-season, which is great
Right.
about the three
Right.
tribes,
Yep.
But at this point in time, you want to look for the outsiders right now. Peter is obviously an outsider right
Yep.
there. He knows it,
Yep.
and he wants to stab some people in the back. He is the guy to look for right now at this point in
and
time.
He'll be fun to watch.
He will
for
be.
Sure.
He is big
He'll be
time
fun to
out for
watch, and I
people.
think they'll keep the little alliances together
Somewhat.
in
Depending
the
on
first,
the team.
In the first,
Well, there'll be a
the first
randomized
time
drawing.
they change the tribes.
Right.
They're
Depending
gonna
on
keep
how
them
they
together
split those
'cause
teams.
they want to promote those
Sure.
relationships. And
But
see if they,
show or producer aside, if
Yeah.
when they randomly draw it, let's say they randomly draw it, which they do,
Right.
you want to look for how the game is played right now. We want to look for the outsiders. And the only people holding a grudge right now, the only person really, if you really think about it, is Peter. That's the only person right now. We go to this merge,
Yeah.
and he's the only dude holding a grudge because everybody else
Everybody else
they
they cleared out.
gone.
They're gone. Yeah.
And that was all due to Braun losing all that time.
Right.
The grudges were all caused because the voting. That's what
And
causes the
who will
animosity.
Peter?
So,
The question is now, who's Peter going to hold that grudge against? Does he know that Debbie's the mastermind?
I think he does. At
You
the
know,
end of the season,
has he put
mentioning
that, or could he believe that it's Joe? I mean, he might think that Joe has more control than, because I think he might be naive to the fact that maybe Debbie is smarter than he. Downplays Debbie, I think, a lot, and doesn't realize that she's kind of the one that's been in charge.
Yeah.
He kind of makes it seem, to me anyhow, Peter makes it seem as if he thinks Joe is more
Yeah.
the guy that has something to do with the fact that Liz got voted out.
Well, Debbie acted like a frickin' idiot the first couple of days on
Right,
that
right.
tribe. Maybe that was part of her strategy.
It could have been, too, and
to
I
be a
think
fool.
if that was part of her strategy, it seemed to have worked for her so far. To kind of be,
Yeah.
but I think she's just naturally a little out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
I mean,
is-
I've grown to
which is
like her
fine.
this episode.
She's I
She's
have
been
too.
that frog under the water with her eyes popping out, just watching.
She's
you know?
been paying attention.
That's fine, She
Right.
she did what she had to do. You know what would be great to see would be Peter if those two guys get on the same crew as Peter. That would be really cool to watch. Those three would be a wrecking ball right through the whole season.
That
the
would
whole
be kind of
season.
That would be awesome.
And
yeah.
they could sway. Don't tell me they couldn't sway a couple women on their side.
Absolutely.
Then
they
you got
could.
Sydney on the opposite tribe doing her thing over there. And then when you finally get to the merge, oh my goodness. So many options, so
Yeah.
many things can
Yeah.
happen. It'd be fantastic stuff here.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think as far as Sydney is concerned, her and Jason are tight to the end of this game.
Yeah.
I really do believe
yeah.
so.
They got something going on.
After this incident, these, and I even thought about that before they mentioned it. I thought to myself, wow, it's going to be hard to vote these people out.
Mm-hmm.
The people that you're pouring water on, and you're watching them suffer in such a way. Jason he was right over taking care of her,
Yeah.
calming
yeah.
her down. Calm down, everything's good, drink some water, I'm pouring some more water over you, everything's going to be fine, this, that, and the other thing, Those are some bonds that are made in those moments of emergency.
Sure.
That are they'll be there till the end, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out with those several characters that went through this emergency state, and what kind of bond, how strong that bond will stick. But I really do think Jason and Sydney will be somehow together till the end of the game. No matter how they get voted out or when they get voted out, but they won't be digging for each other for sure.
Yeah, I think you're right. The
It's
greatest
possible.
connection there at that whole emergency thing was those two.
Yeah.
I think the greatest connection there. And like Joe and Debbie, maybe there was some sort of like thing, but they already had some going on. But it wasn't that type of bond that was formed there between the Brawn tribe there.
Yeah. Right.
Sydney and what's his name? Scott. Is that his name? What's his name?
Scott.
Those
Yeah.
two, I
And
think
the
what
three of
happened
them.
there was pretty strong, even to the point to where you vote out the big man. The big tall guy, and you get rid of him. Those two, I would think, were so close that they could vote out that one dude out of that three.
I think so.
That's what I think. That was so
after
emotional.
something like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It sure seems like
Good
it, right?
stuff there.
Yeah.
So finally, we make it to the end here at the tribal, and we see it's going to be obvious.
Yeah. We don't even see a
It's-
Alicia plea or nothing.
There's
We don't see
nothing
a
from it,
speech
right. They
or
must-
any sort of political play before
Nothing.
tribal.
Nothing. They're hanging out on the beach, probably
Yeah.
just chilling. Like,
Yeah.
well, everybody knows she's going home. Nobody really cares.
Mhm.
It's not does nothing. Nothing's going to help her at this point in time. And obviously, they step up, and there it was. She was gone. Voted out 3-1. And
Yeah.
she was obviously gunning for Scott, which was kind of funny.
She had something for him,
Scott
she was
Scott
mad
spoke
at
his
him.
mind about it.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the one that voiced his opinion on it. And
But what's a man to do?
right.
What's a man to do? You have she's very angry at you. You said something snappy during a high intense moment. It happens to all of us guys. You have the lady friend, and she's yelling at you,
right.
but you're sawing up some wood and sweating your ass off. And she says something to you, and you say something that you're going to regret 20 minutes from
right.
now, but you say it anyways because you're working on
So who
some
cares?
crap.
Right? Yeah. Like
You
let
know,
it
you're
go.
getting stuff done.
And instead, she starts nagging.
So
She
the poor
starts
guy,
nagging.
he
She
might have
does.
meant like, hey, you being a good cheerleader, that's what we need, some positive reinforcement, because that's all she could do.
Right.
So maybe he was being honest. But what's a
Right.
man to do when you're confronted like that? You got to tell her the truth. Like, hey, you're kind of being bitchy right now.
Right.
Just chill the F out.
Be a cheerleader because at
Yeah.
least you can do that, and
Yep.
just
You can't say
It's hot
that
out
without
here.
being mean, but you're being honest with her.
And I think that was what her
I think he
biggest
was
problem
good.
with Scott is he was very honest with
Yeah.
his opinion on
He was.
how he felt about her.
He's not
so.
used to sugarcoating it. Both those dudes are married. They know what it's like to deal with some woman that's freaking crazy. You know what I mean? But both of them know it. So you just deal with it with the honesty, and you tell them what's up. I mean, you don't have to
Yeah.
abuse the poor girl. I do think that they were abusing that girl, though.
They
were way over the top.
They were
stuff.
digging at her deeper than
You
probably
know, just-
even what we saw.
But just because she seemed she looked weaker right
Right.
off the bat,
Right.
and they went after her. Just straight off the bat, went after her.
And I think they needed to let some stress go, so they.
Yeah, right. It's easy to
So
bully
they were
somebody
just,
like that. You
you
put these
know,
guys on some tribe with some dudes that
Right.
can compete and with some guys that can play the game. These two dudes are in trouble. I'm telling you right now, they're in trouble.
And
Unless
you
they
got to
work very
remember they had to listen to her for 10 days in a row, too. So that's a long time to listen to somebody that you can't stand.
Sure, but
And
people
then
have-
just, I'm
so-
sure who just keeps talking and nagging and
Yeah.
keeps going. She kind of seemed like she just couldn't stop. I mean,
Yeah.
like you said, sometimes the guy's gonna say
The
something. He
cumulative
blows up about
effect.
something, and then she just keeps riding
Sure,
it.
you're
Will
gonna
not
say
let it
something,
go back.
yeah.
Back at camp, it's time to let it go. It's all over. it didn't even matter at that point in time. It didn't even matter, before the immunity challenge. She was clearly the one that was going. Even if it had been the next immunity challenge, she would have been the one to go, except for the fact that the next immunity challenge would have happened after there were 2 new tribes made. But she didn't survive to that point, so it'll be great to see the division of the new tribes next week.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing that, that's one of the points where you really get excited to see what's going to happen here and how these tribes are going to split up to where, like you said, it could be the 3 guys. You could see
that
Peter,
would be great.
Peter and Jason.
Yeah.
And, if you see something like that go down, where does that leave the rest of the people too? And being that Ty, he's going to try to have to find his bond within a new group.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets stuck with the muscle guys, that could be real bad for somebody like Ty.
Well, alliances
maybe the
breed.
opposite. Maybe the opposite.
Could be. I mean, maybe his personality will carry him through.
You're mixing water with oil at this point, in my
opinion.
Where
they breed alliances. When you see a couple people talking to each other and you think they're going to vote, you're going to find you somebody. So you're going to, the 3 guys will be together. Rest assured you, the rest of the gang will
we'll fade away from those 3.
So
right?
we need to do something about them before they do it to us.
That's true. But
if they get split into those particular tribes.
Yeah, but we also see people forget their alliances when they break up with people. You forget who you were with on that one tribe, and then you get that little merge where you go on a separate tribe, and then people start forgetting alliances somehow. You forget you were paired up with. Like all of a sudden now, this person I've been with, I forget what happened the first 3 days of the season.
Yeah,
that could happen. That would be great too. We could have a lot of good stuff. I just would say that at this point in time, every season, you want to watch the people holding the grudges. And the people who are at the bottom. The minorities always seem to latch on to something and to someone, and they come out on top. Somehow, some way, they do it.
So
Peter seems to be the only guy right now. He'd be sticking around. You watch.
Yeah, that's a good possibility.
He might be sticking around because everybody thinks they can bone him off at any time, and any time doesn't come.
Peter's got a good game. He's got a good, strong game going. He's a good, big, strong guy too. And he's got charisma. He's got the character. He can get along with some new teammates, especially from the Beauty Tribe. I mean, I think the Beauty Tribe might actually be more his forte. Versus, versus if he doesn't end up with the 2 other guys, if he doesn't, if he ends up with the guys, that'll be the unit, I would believe. But if he doesn't end up with those guys, I could see him being real tight with some of the people on the Beauty Tribe.
He'd love to be on a clan with dummies, though. He would love to be the leader of the dummies.
He's looking for that leadership.
Yeah, that's
role.
what he
so
wants.
It'll be real interesting to see how this next episode pans out.
But don't forget, let me add this one thing in here. Don't forget that the other tribes haven't seen what happened at Tribal between the Brawn and the Brains.
Yet.
They don't know what happened. So for all they're concerned is Peter's a good guy, and he never did that stuff in Tribal.
Nope.
He never became a dick until he went to Tribal, and nobody knows he was a dick over there. That's the whole thing. Everybody forgets that, but nobody saw that. For all they know, is Peter's a good guy.
Peter's a great guy.
Unless you're on the Brains tribe.
Of
then
course.
you know
then
he's
you
a
know,
dick.
right. Then you know what kind of ego he held.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. But, as we watch, we'll see whether he builds his ego up on the next team that he's on or it gets burnt back down. But it will no doubt be an exciting episode. These are my favorite episodes when we see the switching, the mixing,
absolutely.
the division of the tribe.
Absolutely.
The characters really start to stand out a little bit more, and I think we're going to see a lot more of what the Beauty Tribe and their characters actually have. We haven't seen a lot of Anna. I can't even tell you the other girl's name.
Yeah, the 3 girls over there on Beauty.
Just right. We haven't seen much of them, but I think they're going to be players. I think they're going to come out now that the focus isn't going to be so much on the people that we've seen who have kind of had the most drama within their teams. Now the drama is going to be spread throughout 2 different tribes.
Yeah.
And there's going to be more focus on a lot more of just those individual characters. So it's going to be good to see. That'll be episode 5.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doug, for being here.
No
again
problem,
this
Survivor
week.
Nation.
Great to
Love
be
you
here.
guys,
That's
buddy.
right.
Great
Love
to
you
be
guys.
here. Have a
And
great week.
Robert, absolutely. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining me here again this week. We'll be back again next week, folks.
Got it.
Here, episode 5, Survivor. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you guys then.
Peace
Later.
out.
Next week.